ecstatic when I heard that it was going to be a TV show, and like best Tuesday night ever. But yeah, have you ever pitched any storylines for the show, or like if you could, would you pitch as like an arc, or even as like a filler episode?
Personality.
Martin. Yeah. Yes. I would definitely like to have seen Angie come back. I'd quite like to. More music? I don't know. I really would like to see kind of how she would tackle home life and like having kids, or deciding not to. The fact with Peggy is that she's so much defined by her work that I think there must be some kind of cost to that when she comes home and she is ultimately alone. And so when you take away her sense of identity in the workplace, I'd like to kind of explore a little bit about who is she? Who is she when when there are no bad guys to fight? Does she have her own demons? And I'd like to have I don't know, maybe get some cameos. I want Tim Curry to do a cameo. I love him so much. I really love him.
Season 3, it'll happen.
Season 3. I want him to be an evil villain. Yeah. Or my dad.
In the musical. Perfect.
Or just come and hang out. Just play bananagrams. I don't mind.
Oh, hi, thank you so much.
Hi, Hayley. I study historical costume, and I was wondering what would be your favorite piece from Agent Carter's wardrobe?
Well, not visually, because I get this doesn't really offer much for the eye, but brown jumpsuit that she was in the sewer in just meant that I could lunge, I could climb trees. It was a nightmare to go to the loo in, but I just like the comfort of it. Like the thing that I found, I'm kind of naturally a tomboy, and I don't really spend much time thinking about clothes apart from the costumes I wear at work. I just like to be able to move. I get quite restless if I can't move, and I felt that the costumes are so beautiful, but what they really do to the character of Peggy is they create her posture changes, her sense of her kind of the way that she holds herself is to do with what the outfits are saying and how they represent her as a person, and how considered and put together she is, and how much of her time she was. So I was happy to see the back of that gold dress. That was, that was. I mean, but the thing is, if I slouched in it, it was so kind of hard and big that it kind of kept me standing. So I would just kind of sometimes just drop to my knees, but I was still standing because the dress was holding me up because it was so big. It was like really stiff material. But Gigi Melton, who designed everything and had everything tailor-made for me, was just brilliant because she kept within the time, but she also made it so that I felt comfortable and that it worked with my body type and also allowed me to do the action that I needed. So she did a great job.
Thank you.
Did you get to take home any of the outfits or props?
Yeah, at the end of season 2, she came in and she's like, "You have all of these, but don't tell anyone." And I have quite a bit in my wardrobe now. But it'd be really weird. Can you imagine, like, on my day off, bumping into me in the street, and I'm dressed as Peggy, and I'm like, "Hi, I really miss her."
I heard you also have a pamphlet from your own funeral, which is kind of weird.
I do. Well, I got it because Chris sent me a text of the day he was filming the funeral, and he was talking about how hot Peggy looked as an old lady. And she was like a picture of her by the coffin, which was really dark and weird. And then I went to see them all in Atlanta, and I made sure I got the little pamphlet. It was good turnout, I thought.
She's pretty popular.
Yeah, so it's a lot of Latin inside it, but I still didn't understand. But I'm sure it was all very complimentary.
She was fancy.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hey, sorry. Hey.
Hi.
Hey, it's nice to see you. My name's Malcolm. And my question for you is if you got a chance to see Civil War, there's a bunch of different characters in that movie that I would have really loved Agent Carter to meet, Spider-Man in particular. How do you think Agent Carter would relate to Spider-Man? Do you think she would respect him like she did with Captain America, or think that being a hero is not for a kid?
think she'd really like him. I think she'd feel very jealous of all of his bendy moves and stuff. No, I think that, you know, I think Peggy would be kind of fascinated by this weird creature, and kind of amazed and in awe of it all, really. I think she's, you know, she knows what she stands for, so all that she kind of looks for is that kind of quality within people, despite it doesn't matter the fact that they look very different. But I think they get on. I mean, I don't know if they get on though. Can you imagine them having like a cup of coffee together?
Definitely.
Can you? Can you imagine that? I think she'd be jealous of that kind of thing. I think she'd be trying to kind of do that.
Hello, Hayley.
Hi.
My question for you is, what do you like most about working with Chris Evans in Captain America's First Avenger?
His running charades skills. We used to just play, I mean, you could get like, I'm a child, I'm clearly a 12-year-old child who never grew up, but he's great fun. Like you know, if you go out for a night with Chris, you're gonna have an absolutely brilliant time, and he makes sure that everyone does, and so he's great at hosting, and you know, he's a wonderful guy, and I'm very lucky to consider him a friend. So it was just kind of being able to hang out with him, really. And you know, it was a very different time back then because it was a big deal for him in his career. And it was a new world for me as well. And that was, what, 8 years ago that we filmed that? And to see how that's, and you know, he knew it would change his life hugely, and it has. And I think he was, you know, nervous about that, and I was nervous too, coming onto such a big job. But to see each other at the beginning of what this journey has been, and to be able to maintain that friendship and kind of be here now and look back at it and go, wow, look where we are now. Still being idiots, playing running charades, but.
Hayley, thanks for being here. I love you. My friend unfortunately wasn't able to be here today, but she wanted me to ask you, if Peggy was still alive in the 21st century, what would she be like, and how would Steve react to her?
She'd definitely have squad goals. She'd have all the coolest women. She'd Beyonce, you know, Florence and the Machine. She's really into music, apparently. Yeah, I think she would. I think she might find Steve quite earnest and kind of shake him up a bit, maybe, and just remind him of where he comes from. The 1940s. But I hope that Peggy's the kind of person who, she's very determined and she will adapt to the environment she finds herself in. And therefore she would take on modern life quite well. I don't think she'd be on social media. I don't think she'd have time for it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think superheroes are. What I have appreciated about Peggy in that world of superheroes is she doesn't actually have any superpowers. And that's interesting to me, because I go, well, I can relate to the fact that she's a human being. And so what are her strengths and her powers within the realm that is obtainable for me as a human being, you know? And that's kind of what I look for in stories as well. Superheroes are wonderful, but they also represent things that we can't see, qualities of, you know, of heroism, which I think exist everywhere, and they exist you know, underneath capes, and they don't involve being able to fly. They involve much more human qualities. So I'm not so much bothered about being able to, you know, dart around the planet in 10 minutes, and more of just being able to connect with other humans.
Really great women as antagonists on Agent Carter too. We had Dottie in the first season, and then I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about playing against Whitney in the second season. She was amazing.
Wynn Everett, genius Wynn Everett. She's so funny. We've got a blooper reel, and I piss myself laughing every time I watch it because Wynn commits, and she's crazy. And it's so, she'll be like, God, I thought that hurt more. You're mental. It's so funny. And quirky, and quite like reminds me of that British eccentricity actually. And I thought also, you know, that she represented, I think, that kind of the dark side of Hollywood, being kind of that the obsession with ambition, you know, and kind of doing anything to achieve what you want in life, and despite the fact that you're clearly evil, or, you know, doing bad things to get there. And I think, and also at the same time, she's really clever. You know, she's a scientist, a bit like Hedy Lamarr. That's who it was initially based on, although I'm sure she wasn't as evil as Whitney. Yeah, so that's great. And again, with Bridget Regan playing Dottie, you know, these women are coming in as fully formed actresses who have a lot to say, and they're all great fun. And it was just kind of providing the space for them to really be able to enjoy themselves and go for
A
it.
lot of memorable lines in Agent Carter. My personal favorite being, "I know my value. Anybody else's opinion doesn't really matter." Do you have a favorite that's not well known or known?
Oh God, yeah. I wish. Oh man, that's some good. Yes, actually, and it's not her line, and it's a line that we could not get through the read-through because it made us laugh so much because it was so random. And I bet you not a lot of people will even remember it because it was like a passing comment. But you know, when she's in the first season, she's living in the women's residential home kind of thing. And there are girls in front of her stealing food, and there's this one character who talks about her mum had knitted her a chicken pocket.
Yes!
And it came from Michelle Fazakis, one of our showrunners, and we read it in the read-through and we just lost it. We couldn't, so especially James Darcy and I were just like, you're so weird. That's amazing. And we're like, I want a chicken pocket. We should all have chicken pockets. And where can we get one? And that became kind of just a great kind of running gag. And then I found a picture of a chicken in a pocket. So we sent that, and in fact James Darcy has just written and directed a short film that he's going to take to festivals, and it's called Chicken Egg, and it features a chicken pocket. So obviously this is like an ongoing love, and it's really like, all the things you're like, know your value, I'm like, chicken pocket. Yeah, that's what I'll take with me.
Thank you so much.
Hi. I was wondering, if Agent Carter were to continue, do you think Daniel Souza would be the one that Peggy ends up with? And do you think Michael Carter is alive?
Ooh, wow. It's interesting, because they had to, when I was doing The Winter Soldier, and they had, by Peggy's bedside, they had pictures of her with the kids, and I think, and a guy, and when they were cutting it together, Luis Esposito was like, we've got to fuzz out the face of her husband because we don't know who it is yet, which is so lucky that we did that. Otherwise, whoever that extra was who took that picture would now have a career. Have to be my husband. So that hasn't happened. So it could be Sousa, because she talks about having that Captain America saved her husband before, obviously, they knew that they were going to get married later on. So it could easily be Sousa. Maybe he saved his life, and that was the time when he had his injury. And I would absolutely love to have a family with Ember, Joe Kyson. I'd be very happy about that, because I think they're a good match. The other thing, Michael. That was what we were going to explore in season 3. And I don't say anything more than that in case we do, in the hope that we will do. So I'll leave you with that big mystery.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think we all hope for that too. Conviction premieres October 3rd on ABC. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap
I think
up?
I've said enough. Sick of my own voice. Thanks for indulging me, guys. It's really lovely to be here. Have a great weekend.